Well, hey everybody, it's me, and I want to pop on real quick tonight, and we want to talk about church tech talk. Talking tech tonight, not doing ministry. Basically, well, we are doing ministry in some ways, but we're doing and talking about technology tonight. That's for video streaming, live streaming, or recording. We want to talk about the pros and cons of it, of streaming. Those of you that are doing any type of live streaming, you're doing any type of editing. I want to give you just a few suggestions tonight, and maybe can help you in your decision for whether your church or just for you, whether you want to do live streaming or whether you want to do recorded video. There's a big difference in live streaming and recorded video, and this may help you. Those of you that are tuning in right now, those of you that will, watch later, just will give you a few suggestions on how to deal with live streaming or recorded video. I for years have done video, and not only video, but some television where we were on TV locally here on AIB for many, many years, went off, came back on, and so we were doing live video or TV taping, should I say, where we had a broadcast that came on every Saturday night. And then we had it where it came on doing sometimes even in the daytime. So we did that for maybe about 9 years. And we did some national stuff also where we did some things. And so we were into that heavily. And we came off of television because we strictly dedicated and put our focus towards streaming or live streaming or recorded video and then uploading it later. And so a lot of you are doing recorded video, you're doing live streaming. So I want to help you tonight and give you some suggestions on something that may enhance your streaming process or give you where you can make a sound decision on whether you want to video and then edit, upload, or do live streaming. There are pros and cons to both of them, and maybe this will help you out. Now, let me say to you, on ours, we do live streaming on Sunday morning. Every Sunday morning from RRC, we do live streaming at 10:45. Now, service starts at 10 o'clock, where we start with prayer, and then we go into praise and worship. And we catch probably the latter part of praise and worship with we catch the latter part of praise and worship with our streaming. Our stream starts exactly 10:45. It's automatically set once we set it with in our back office with what we use, and I'll show some of you what we use in our back office, and then it starts automatically at 10:45. We've got everything already set. It goes straight into our things. God bless you, Brother Wilcox. It goes straight into our stream and the things that we're doing. And so when we do that and understand that, we start streaming. And so at 10:45, we already know that everything is set. So the cameras are rolling, everything comes on, and then we have it set where it'll stream from 10:45 until 1:30. Well, we know we're not going to take up all that time dealing to 1:30, but what we do then is we will have where we can cut it off at the time that we need to cut it off, and the stream will stop. And we are streaming on on Facebook. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Periscope, Twitter, and we're also streaming on our website, which is rrcogic.com. So we're streaming on that. You can even go there now and see our services from last Sunday and a couple of services back. So we're streaming on that, and we're going to all platforms. Now, it's a great thing to do that. It's a great thing to be streaming, and you can do it. You don't have to be a big church to do it. You don't have to have a large congregation. You can do it and I'll share with you some of the setup. But you can do that. You can stream to those different platforms, and you can do those things. Now, that's it's a great thing to have. But now, what I want to say to you is, if you're going to stream, what I see a lot of churches doing today, and you can only do and use what you have. So if that's all you got, use what you have. But if you want to do some, I wouldn't say serious streaming, live streaming from your church, but I'm saying if you want to do something that is impactful or something that will be of quality, go get you a camera to be able to do this live streaming. Now, you'll understand that you can get some cameras that's not expensive. They don't cost $3, $4, $5,000. They've got some cameras that do HD streaming and recording, and you can use those cameras. We use a small camera that is so small you probably, and I don't know, let me look and see. I may have it in here somewhere. If I do, I will pull it out and let you see it. I got a lot going on here, so let me see, can I find it? I'm gonna look and see if I can get it, and I do have it here. Okay, so I'm gonna share with you what we use on Sunday morning to do our live stream. This is, and I don't know if they still have it, but this is what we use on Sunday morning. We have one. This is the camera that we live stream with. This camera cost, I think, was about $200, if that much. But it does. It'll give you a good picture. It actually records and can stream in HD. Has an open up thing where you can look at the screen, so you can see the screen there, and has on the side where you can put the inputs and things that you need. And it uses a small SD card that goes in it, so you can use that. Goes right here in the side of it. As you can see, I pop it right in, and it goes right in there, and you can stream to that. Have it mic where you can get good sound coming through it, and everything. And so this is what we use on Sunday mornings. Now, as I'm doing live, I use another camera, which is a Sony camera, to do my live streaming, which I think gives me a good picture. Or you can use some of the other DSLR cameras to do some recording also. But now, if you're recording, if you don't have a big church, you got a small church, and you don't need 2 or 3 cameras, you just need one, that's a good setup to do it, to use those cameras and to use that. I see Spencer, iPhone or iPad works well. They do. However, sometimes when you use your iPhone and your iPads, what you're missing is the thing that most people maybe have not shared, and that is when you're doing streaming sometimes, especially if you're going to use it for a church, and if you're doing it on a personal level where you're just streaming it personal, then that's different. But when you're talking about doing church and streaming for a church, not recording, but streaming, sometimes we use Wi-Fi. And when we use Wi-Fi, sometimes what happens with the Wi-Fi is everyone's using it, so you get a lot of buffering, and a lot of things start to happening, and it goes to pixelating, and you go to dropping, and things are not clear because the Wi-Fi can not only take so much of your signal. And when a lot of people are using it and there's not a dedicated line for what you're doing, you may get that, and your thing may go in and out. And probably what you're going to do is probably lose some people watching you because it's going in and out. And so you can use it. There are those that do use it. But if you want to take it to a next level, then you can get a setup where we can do it. And even as I'm talking to you, I'm not streaming with you using Wi-Fi, even though in this whole thing, I've got Wi-Fi, but I've got a dedicated line, especially for streaming, which is hardwired. And I've got what they call, you got the download speed and the upload speed. where I've got 1,000 download and 1,000 upload, which is able to carry my signal without buffering. So it means that you're going to probably not get out of sync video, and everything is going to be moving very smoothly because we are doing that. So you got to start looking into that if you're going to get into some serious things. The other thing that you may not be able to do with an iPhone or with an iPad is if you want to seriously put it out where you can put some lower thirds and things on your live stream so people can see what you're doing, then you may want to look at that, because you can put lower thirds. Now, on Sundays, I have lower thirds that are on my lower thirds that are on the video, which I've created. Now, I only use one across the bottom, but I could use more, or we can use inserts. Even with this that I'm using here, I can show you in a minute where I can do lower thirds and put on here. So the advantage sometimes of using another camera and another setup is you get some control that is almost professionally controlled, and you can have the how could I put it? You can have the look of a big church or whatever on a scaled down budget, but it looks real good and professional and real tight. And so you can do that, and it'll work for you if that's what you really want to get into and really want to look at. So there's an advantage. Sometimes the live streaming, there's pros to it, there's cons. The con is when you're doing live streaming, you got to understand that it is live streaming. So everything that is done in that live stream is broadcast on that live stream, whether it's something said, whether it's something done, whether the person that's got the camera gets excited and gets happy and puts the camera up in the ceiling and you're live streaming, it's there. Whether you got it on a tripod or on a little thing, and I'm talking about with no matter what camera you use, an iPhone, iPad, or a camera, when you set it there, the person, if you're not doing direct sound into the camera where you're not picking up the outside sound, then whoever is talking, it's going to pick up. Everyone's going to hear exactly what they say. The sermon will be washed out by the person talking on the video or housing the video or right there with the camera. And if it's something where they're moving and it shakes, it shakes. But remember, all that's live video. It's live streaming. And there's not a lot you can take out with it. If you got another camera and you're using a switcher, then you can switch out. And in many cases, when we did TV, we had 2 or 3 cameras and we had headphones, and the person that was doing and controlling the video and the input and the output, they could tell camera one, get close in on that shot, and then they'll fade over to them when they were live, and then they pull back out and go back to the main camera, which may be a stationary camera. So all of those things could be done, and you could do that. But again, remember, they're great things to live because people get to see your worship. They get to see your services. But remember, it is live. So the con part of it is, if it's live, there's no, there's no room for basically mistakes or errors because it is live video. So you have to determine whether you want to do live video, live streaming, or whether you want to record and edit what you want everyone else to hear. Because there may be some things on the live that's not for the outside audience. There may be some things in live streaming. That's another con of it. There may be some things that you need to say within that setting, that congregational setting, that is not for the world to hear. But when it's live, that means they can pick it up. Anybody can pick it up. They can draw from it. Why? Because it is a live setting. So I want to make sure that you understand, when we're talking about live, and we're talking about doing live, then we're doing those things that will be live. So there's pros and there's cons to it when we're talking about live streaming. So we want to keep that in mind. If you're doing live streaming, please, by all means, keep that in mind. There are some things that you don't want to live stream. There are some things, even I see those that live stream Bible studies. Sometimes you don't want to do that. Some things are for Bible study, and it may not be for the world. And you've got to know that, especially if you don't have control over things like you need, and you're streaming from your phone or from your, your iPad or whatever. You need to understand that there's some things you may need to do with that. Now, for those of you that stream with your phones and iPads, I'm saying again, if that's all you got, use what you have. But, do it in such a way, because another thing you want, your audio. People hate to look at video where there's no good audio. And if your audio is not where they can really hear it, sometimes they will not listen or look at your video live stream if they really can't hear the audio. If your sound is not something that comes through or whatever, they may not listen at it. So you need to look at that also, and to see about how to get good sound, quality sound coming with your live stream. Good sound, quality sound coming in where they can hear it and do those things. And that's important. A few Sundays ago, we had something going on with our sound, and there were those that were typing in the comment section saying, we see the video, but the sound is low. And so we had to make an adjustment to bring the sound up so those that were looking at it could hear it. Because now understand, when you live streaming, there's no time to stop and say, y'all get that sound right, and I'm going to wait for y'all. No, you live streaming. The world is looking at you. So now you've got to do that. That's why sometimes before you go on live stream and stuff, if you're streaming, sometimes it's good, especially if you're doing it with cameras and other setups, you need to be able to get in early before the service, before the event, and test your stream, test what it's going to look like, because just in case you have some hiccups, and you may have some hiccups even with all the stuff you're doing, you may have some. I'm streaming here, but I may have some hiccups, may not, but it's important to know that. So the live stream, those of you that's live streaming, you want to do that. Now, let me say another thing in live streaming. If you're going to live stream, you may want to go pick up, and this is for church and for those of you that just live stream ministry, not at church, and you use your iPhone or whatever, you may want to go pick up a ring light or pick up some lights. I've got a ring light here. It's a small one, but they got some bigger ones than this that you could set up, and they will come on and light up. This one here, you can see it's bright, and then it's off now. I just turned it on. It's back on and set bright. And so if I'm putting it on my face, but I don't need it here because I've got some light, but you can see. Now, this goes on my iPhone. If I'm taking selfies or something, I use that for this, for that, should I say. But now when I'm doing, go get your ring light. And if you're doing something from home, if you're streaming every day from home, go get some lights or something and put them, put them in front of you. Put some light on yourself so people can really see, because if you are what I call bright skin, if you're light, then you may not need to change your background. But if you're dark like me, you do not put a white background behind you, because a white background behind you and white shirts and all of those things make you darker. So you need to change your background. This is why I always keep a colored background, and to make sure that's what you need to do. And so we need to make sure that we do that, and make sure that we are handling that, because it's important for us to do. And so I want to just make sure that you understand, get some light. If you just sitting at your house and you decide I'm going live, get a ring light. If you're using your phone, an iPad, or if you doing what I'm doing, pop those lights on. I've got lights in front of me. You probably can see the glass, the reflecting off my glasses. I've got lights in front of me, and then I've got mics and stuff to get my sound and to capture my sound so you can hear exactly what I'm saying. And I pray and trust that you can hear me pretty good. I'm working on it tonight. But now understand, this is important if we're going to do live streaming. These are just some suggestions for those of you that are serious about what you're doing to just upgrade a little bit and do it a little bit different, and it'll bless you for doing so. And I appreciate you. Now, here's again, we're talking about the pros and cons of live streaming versus recorded video. Now, here's the thing about recorded video. If you're going to record, and you talked about the cameras that we were talking about using earlier, if you're recording your video, then you have the option to do something different with your video. What is that? What model is your mic? This is the Rode. This is the Rode mic that I'm using tonight. I've got another mic that I use. Let me see. Can I pull it in front of me? This is just a man. What is this? I forgot the name of it, but that's my other mic. What I use with my stand. This one here is on the stand. I'm just using this one in front of me. It's a Rode mic. It goes with thing that I bought to do my my podcast with, the Rodecaster. And so this is what I'm using here. It's just the Rode Pod mic, I believe it is what I'm using. And I'm going to show you all in a minute the software that I'm using just for doing my live streams. I use a lot of different things for live streams, and it all depends on what I need to use and how I want to use it. And I'll share that with you tonight. And so here we are. Again, if you're going to do video recording, understand video recording, you get to record. Then if you know anything about editing or you have an editor, then you can go in and put a thing on the front. You can do that with live streaming too, according to what you use. But you can put some on the front. You can put some on the, you can put your lower thirds if you're doing things and you need to cover something up. You can use B-roll from another camera where you can put audience shots in or whatever you need to do. I was editing a play, and in the play, there was a scene that people were dancing, and one of the persons that were in the play, they fell down. And that was not, they accidentally fell down. And so what I did is I was able to put, because I do editing too, video editing, I was able to take the B-roll that I had and I put it over top of what they were doing. God bless you, Dr. Harris. They put it over top, and in the midst of putting it over top, then what happened was I put it over top and edited to the point that when it came back to at where they had fell at, they were already up on their feet with the hands lifted, so no one ever saw them fall. It never appeared in the video because I edited it out. And that's the same thing they do when they do movies. They edit stuff on the cutting floor. They put it out there and they get it. So what I'm saying to you is it is possible for us to video your service, even if you don't want to live stream. Video your service and then go back and edit the part that you want people to see. You've got more control over it than you do many times over live streaming. Because when you do editing of your video, then you can put, now usually on Sundays, we do live stream, but then I come and I take what we recorded, because we not only live stream, we record also. I take the recorded part of the service and I take out maybe the close of the message or whatever part I want you to hear. Then I go in, put that part in, put lower thirds, put an opening to it, and play it and upload it to Facebook, YouTube, and put it on there as the close of today's message or one of the highlight clips of today's message. And it could run 5-6 minutes. It could run long. It just all depends how much I want to put on there and what I'm feeling. So recorded video is you get to take that recorded video and you get to edit it and do it the way you want to do it, put in there what you want to put in there. And even for if you're doing something for YouTube or even Facebook, you don't always have to go live. You can record some things and then edit it the way you want it and then upload it, and people will still watch it. Even though it's not live, they'll still watch it, because here's the advantage of both of these things, live streaming. Here's the advantage of live streaming and video recording, and that is this. When you are video recording, when you're live streaming, if it's done and it's done right, what you got to remember is people will always watch it, and they'll get to rewatch it and look at it over and over again. So you don't have to worry about, well, if I don't do a live stream, people won't get it. No, if you record the whole thing and do it the way you want and upload it, people still get it, because in the live stream, they're going to watch it over. And if it's a recorded thing, they're going to watch it over. And the key is not how many folk you see looking at the live stream, because that's where we get caught up and think we got to go live because we want to get the numbers up. That's why we sometimes spend a lot of time saying, come on in, get those numbers up, get the numbers up. You don't have to do that, because I don't care if it's 10 people watching you live. The thing that you want them to do is those that are not watching it to watch it later. And then not only do they watch it later, but sometime 3 months later, they still get to watch it. 6 months later, they still get to watch it. So you haven't lost anything whether you did live or whether you video recorded it and recorded the video and edited later. So those are advantages. Now, the con to it is you may want everything from the service live. You may want that. And if that's what you want, then video recording and editing it, you can record it, but editing the video is not going to do you much good. But I would suggest to you, look at both of them. Sometimes we're not ready for live, and we need to do, until we are prepared and ready to do live, we need to do some editing. We need to do some things that will enhance. And one of the things I want to tell you is people can deal with your video as long as you got pretty good sound. We need to work on the sound being something people can really hear, and sound. And if you can get some lights just to set up in front of you or whatever, please, by all means, do that. If you can't, then work with what you got. But these are just suggestions and just sharing with you some of the stuff that I use and some of the stuff we do in live streaming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you some things that I use for video. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much. Dr. Harris, let's see. I see you. How can we learn to edit? There's some different things you can use. And if you don't have anybody to do it, there's some things you can easily use to edit. One of the things I use to edit, of course, is what is it? I forget what I use half the time. I got so much I be using. Let's see. I use a thing called ScreenFlow that records your screen, and you can do editing on it. That's what I usually use on Sunday evenings when I'm just using the short version of what I'm uploading. They've got some called Resolve. You can use that. What is the other thing? I'm looking on my thing to see what all I do use on here. Let's see. I've got, of course, I use Final Cut Pro. So I use that also to do some of my editing. And I remember years ago when I was talking about doing TV, I asked the late Bishop Patterson, Dr. Harris, I asked him, I said, Bishop, Premier, yes, you're right. I asked the late Bishop Patterson, I said, Bishop, what do you, how much would it be to do TV? And this is what he said to me. He said, TV is not expensive. He said, where your expense comes in is in your production and post-production. That means you're editing and the layout and people doing that, because people make good money doing that. And that's where it comes in, because you can tape every service you do. But if you don't know how to do that, you got to pay somebody to do it. Fortunately, I do it. And then my person, Brother Jerry, that went to school for it, I do it, and I didn't go to school for it. He did. But I've been doing it a long time, and I've sort of, I don't know if I'm tech savvy, but I guess I know enough to do what I need to do. And so I'm able to do my own videos. I'm able to tape it. I can go out here and tape. I've edited plays. I've edited weddings, edited services, done promos for commercials. So I'm able to do all of that, and so it saves a lot of money. So I could tape any service, Bible study, and anything, and turn around and put it together. And so if you can find somebody, you may have somebody in your church that's already doing that, and you just don't know about it. You need to ask. The reason why I started TV in the first place was my media guy, Brother Jerry, came to me one Sunday and said, "Pastor, can I tape the service?" And now, mind you, we had none of this fancy stuff. We were using a VHS recorder. A VHS recorder. He taped the service on a VHS tape. Now, you know that's long ago. And so on the VHS tape, he used the VHS tape, recorded the VHS tape, and what ended up happening was, when I looked at it, the sound and everything was right. Then we just started taping every Sunday. Eventually, we started upgrading our equipment and stuff. And so when you think about, mega church, I don't have a mega church, but I got mega stuff to do, mega ministry from where I am. So you got to understand, as I keep saying to people, you worry about the size, and you can reach the world and people, whether it's videotaped or whether it's live stream from where you are, and don't have to have thousands of members to do it. You don't have to have that. You can reach people, and people can be touched and blessed, delivered and saved. It all depends on how you see it, and not allowing people to make you feel that you are limited by if you don't do those things. So, Dr. Harris, I would suggest that you would find out, ask somebody in your church, or ask somebody around in your community, or some friends of yours. You'll be surprised the people that do stuff. You just never know they do it. They never tell you. I do a lot of layouts for our jurisdiction. No one ever knew I did it. I did one, and then I ended up doing it all of them. No one ever knew I did it, but I was doing it all the time. And sometimes people have talents that they don't volunteer or they don't showcase, but they do it. Some people do it as a job. Some people do it just on the, just a little bit. So it all depends. What else is involved in post-production? Basically, getting the footage and getting the right footage, especially if you're going to tape. Say, for instance, if you're doing taping at your church, and you may want to tape with a main camera that highlights the speaker or praise and worship leader, and then you may want to have another camera that's just running, and somebody controlling it that controls where you can get footage of the audience and those in the congregation or their reaction or whatever. And then when you go into post-production and production, you're dealing with basically the footage. You're dealing with the sound of it, the audio. You're dealing with sometimes the just making sure that the lighting is right, and sometimes you can do adjustment with that while you're in post-production and in those things. So you just work on doing those things. Sometimes it's really more easier than you think. And so if you're doing those things, you're going to help yourself out because, again, you get to control the narrative of what people see. Again, let me tell you, live streaming is nice. But right now, for instance, if I'm doing live streaming right now, and if my phone rings, you're going to hear it. You're going to get that. And if I decide to stop and talk, you're going to get that conversation. But now, if I'm just taping this and the phone rings, I can stop and answer the phone and then come back and continue from where I was talking. Then when I go in to edit that, the phone conversation is not there. And unless you really know about what I'm doing and you know editing and stuff, you would never know. You would have no clue that I even had a phone conversation. So that's one of those things you get to look at. Of course, I think it was last year, year before last. I was in on the I was played one of the bishops on the platform on the scene of Bishop Carlton Pearson's movie Come Sunday, where they had a guy that was acting like Bishop Ellis, and him and Bishop Pearson was going going at it. Now we started that thing at 5:30 in the morning. I had to be there at 5:30 in the morning, and we were there until about 9:30, 10 o'clock that night, and we were there all day in those robes. We didn't get to take them off. We were there all day in the robes. I think the only time we did take them off was when we ate, and we put them back on. And then they took all kind of scenes. Now, if you look at the movie, you'll see me sitting on the platform, and my head turned. You can even see me looking. But now there's some parts on there when Bishop Pearson, when the guy that plays Bishop Pearson comes in the door before you see him walking down the aisle. You'll see a person's hand extended. That's my hand, but you don't see me. But we shot that scene so many times from so many angles. Then they shot it where he was walking in. All of us was walking up the steps. They shot it. They changed lenses. They shot everything. But when it got to the movie, there's very little of all the stuff we shot. But they got enough footage that when they did the edit of it, you wouldn't be able to tell. Now, those of us that were in the movie and those of us that were there all day, we were saying, well, what happened to the other part? But that's how that goes. And so you've got to know, that's important with editing. And so it's a good thing. Well, let me show you what we use. I'm going to show you a couple different products. One of the things I'm going to show you, I'll probably show you this first. I'm using here, what I'm live streaming on right now is called Ecamm. Ecamm Live. Now, Ecamm is only a Mac product, but I get to see all the things. Let me show you some of the stuff I can do with Ecamm. I can go back and actually I can put everyone's just watch this. I can put everyone's comments on screen. Everybody comments, I can put on the screen. And I use this, of course, just for the thing of doing this. Let's see. Here's one that just came in. Let me see. Okay. Adobe Premiere Pro. Explain to the person at church that. Correct. You're right. Sometimes they don't want the whole service like that. You got to give options. Some people want the whole service. Some people don't. What you have to do sometimes is go in and offer them a edited version. Some people want the whole service. It's just the preference of people. I've seen people come, they say, we want the whole service. We want praise service and everything. And you're like, really? Then there's some people, they just want maybe a song and the message. Some people, they want the end of the message. They want everything about the service, the deliverance part of the service, the praise, they want all of that. And that's not something new. People even wanted that when it was just on tapes, cassette tapes and stuff. They wanted all that, or DVDs. They wanted that. So we it's just the preference of people. But I think if you're going to sell sometimes, and there's some things you don't want to be put out, you may want to consider recording it and then go back and edit it later. That may be a way that will help people to do that. So you've seen that, of course, I'm using this. Here's another thing I can do with Ecamm. Let me see, can I find it? If I can, I'll put it on there. Okay, here's something for when I do Let's Talk, not Let's Talk Ministry, but Check In Monday. Watch, this is something I created. This is a consider the lower third, but you can see it where I've got all the information on here. You've got my name, Check In Monday, my email address, and the website address and everything. And so I'm in the frame of that. So you can see that I can do that with this particular thing, and then I can cut it off and take it off. And so I'm able to do a lot of things with this, and just to show you. And so Ecamm, and I'm going to show you this also. Correct. Someone, let me get down here. I hope I'm not going too long for y'all. I'm been wanting to do this a while. Licensing can be an issue with airing the whole service. It could be, especially with sometimes songs, sometimes you see it on Facebook. It's better now, but I remember sometimes when we had our creative dancers, when they were dancing and we were playing music, and that's why you always see everybody saying, I don't own the rights to this music. But when we were playing music, especially if it's piped music, it's one thing if it's somebody playing the organ, they may not bother you. But if it's piped music and you're using somebody's song or from their CD or whatever, sometimes Facebook used to, and they may still do it, I don't know, the people would be dancing, but there would be no sound. They would completely mute the sound because they say you didn't have the right to that music or whatever. They've gotten better with that. Also on YouTube, they would do that sometime on YouTube, especially if it was a long song. And so a lot of that is things that we got to consider with things that we're doing. And that is a great point. Licensing can be an issue with airing the whole service. So there's a lot of things we have to look at when we talk about live streaming as opposed to recording and just putting the tape out. It's very important that we get all of these things because they're very important. All right. So now I'm going to run a couple of videos and I'll come back, but I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I use. Of course, what I'll do is I'll try to start here with, let me start with Ecamm first. I think I still got it on here, and then we'll go and look at some of the other things I use. I'll come back and let you see some of the other things that I'm using. Thanks, Pastor Harris. I look forward to your call tomorrow. Let me see what I got here and see what I can pull out, and then we're gonna do this and get out of here. But let me pull some stuff out. Let's see. All right, here we go. Okay, let me drop Ecamm in and let you see that, and then I'll be right back.
Ecamm Live is a powerful live video production platform for Mac. Connect the app with Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope, and you're ready to go live to your profile, business pages, and groups. Broadcasting from your Mac means the power to use your professional mic and camera. Connect just about any video input, including your Canon DSLR and Blackmagic devices. Add Skype guests to your live stream with one click. Ecamm Live becomes your own personal production studio with a live camera switcher and split screen mode. Rolling an intro video or a pre-recorded segment is as simple as dragging it into the app. You can also stream your Mac's desktop and comment live with picture-in-picture mode. Add a professional touch to your live stream by adding logos, lower thirds, countdowns, and text. Read viewers' comments and reactions right here in the app. Even add a comment right into your broadcast. And when the show is done, a high-quality recording is already saved on your Mac. Ecamm Live. Instant, powerful live video productions for Mac. Download Ecamm Live's free demo to get started today.
All right. right, so that's Ecamm. That's what I'm using right now. What I'm live streaming right now, you're watching me use Ecamm. So that was a video that shows you what Ecamm does, and you might want to check them out, especially if you're a Mac user and you want to just do some stuff live streaming. And now I'm going to show you the other that I use. You probably see this a lot on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, they've been advertising this. This is called Boxcast. This is what I use. I have one here out, but this is what we use on Sunday morning that streams to our webpage, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope. We get to stream simultaneously to all those. This is Boxcast. Okay, so that's Boxcast. That's what we use on Sundays. Dr. Harris, unfortunately, Ecamm is only for Mac, but Boxcast is a box that you can use. Let me see, can I think I got this hooked up and I don't want to, but let me see, can I pull it out and let you see it here, if possible. Let me see, can I get it here? Y'all give me a minute. Okay. Here's Boxcast. This is what we use on Sunday mornings. This is Boxcast. It's just a box, but it's an encoder. It does everything. You don't really need. You use a computer to set it up, but you don't need a computer to run it because it runs by itself, and more than likely you're not going to have a lot of drop frames and stuff with this. You can do it with the hardwire Ethernet, or you can do it with Wi-Fi, but you may want to consider this. You can actually purchase the box, and then each month there's a fee, but here's another thing that it does. Let me set it back up here. Give me a minute. Another thing that it does is Another thing that it does, it records your thing. So, and it records it and keeps it in storage for a year if you pay for that, and then you can download it and edit it again. Still, it'll do the recording for you where you don't have to record it if you're doing live, or it's a lot of things advantage to Boxcast, and they have great customer service, great support, and I would suggest them using that. I would suggest you using that. I would suggest you really doing that. Doctor, thank you. Look, I'm gonna text you my address so you can send me my offering. So I would suggest you using that. Here's another thing for, I think, Boxcast. Let you see this.
Say hello to Dave, the video guy. Dave, say hi. Typically, live streaming for Dave would be, well, stressful. But Dave got smart. He uses Boxcast to stream all of his events. And it's pretty easy. All he has to do is plug a camera into the Boxcaster and then connect it to the internet. Then, with just a few quick clicks in the Boxcast dashboard, Dave is ready to stream to any platform that he wants. Go ahead, Dave! The internet's your oyster. As Dave's event goes live here, his online viewers start to tune in. Whoa! Dave! That's a lot of viewers. Dave can monitor the event from the Broadcaster app and make any adjustments on the fly. And once the event is over, the stream archives automatically, so Dave's viewers can watch the recording and he can download it for further editing. Like I said, Boxcast makes Dave's life easy. It'll even send his mother flowers.
Really?
No, Dave. Don't be ridiculous. Take the struggle out of streaming with Boxcast, so you can relax like Dave.
All right. Well, I've got two more, and then I'm going to be done tonight. I wanted to do this for a while. I think it's important for us when we have information. I think it's important for us when we got information to share with others. And, sometimes we can make money doing this. Of course, we could. But sometimes we need to share with our brothers and sisters that are trying to do what they're doing. And we want them to do better. And we want them to do what they got to do. And so we'll do that. Dr. Harris, I don't know which one you're referring to. If you're talking about Boxcast, you can go to, matter of fact, what is it? I should have had, well, if you go back and look at the video, it'll probably give you the information, and you could go there. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Boxcast. Let me just make sure, and I can tell you exactly what it is. Let me make sure. And I'm going to tell you what it is exactly. Boxcast.com. You can go and look at that. Boxcast.com. Boxcast.com. And they will talk with them, find out if something works for you. Of course, I said again, you can use that box because that's just the box. You can take that box anywhere if you got able to hook it up with Wi-Fi or hardwire. You can take that box, set it up, set your program, set what you're going to do, and you can stream whenever you want to stream and stream directly to your website. If you didn't want to stream to Facebook or YouTube, you can stream directly to your website every day. That's right, Boxcast.com. You can stream directly to your website and direct people towards your website. All right, here's another one that I use. I usually use this one on Wednesdays when I do Let's Talk Ministry, and then I got one more, and then I'll offer you something, and I'm gonna let you go. This one here is Wirecast. You can use this with Mac and PC, and then they do have another one called vMix. I don't use vMix. I've got it, but I don't use it really, which is good for, I understand, PCs. So you might want to check that out too. But here's Wirecast. I think some churches may use this, Wirecast.
This is Telestream's Wirecast, the robust live switching video production software for your Mac or PC. Wirecast comes with a scalable user interface for any size screen or monitor type. Adding sources is easy in Wirecast. Simply by clicking on the plus sign on a master layer, you will reveal an extensive menu system to choose the sources you want, whether it be a professional camera brought in by a capture card, a USB webcam, or a built-in camera on your Mac or PC. Wirecast also has a feature to bring in live guests from all around the world with Rendezvous. Video production is a snap with Wirecast. By simply clicking on sources, you can create a professional broadcast with the click of a mouse. Start broadcasting and recording simply by clicking on the buttons in the top left corner of the user interface. Then begin mixing in live video, graphics, recorded content, and even stock media. Wirecast has all your needs covered. Now, sit back, crank up the volume, and spread your message to the world. Never has it been simpler with Wirecast.
All right, that's Wirecast. That's what I use on Wednesdays, and sometimes I use it on excuse me, on other times. Dr. Williams here is Boxcast HD video streaming encoder, and you can read his comments there. And those of you that want to check that out, what he's referring to and talking about, please by all means check that out. Whatever works for you. I just wanted to give some suggestions on some stuff that may enhance not just your church video streaming, but those of you that do it live every day. And of course, again, I said, if you're using your iPhone or your iPad, by all means use what you got. But if you're going to do something different, you want to do something different, I've just given you some suggestions. Let me give you this last one. Now, this one I started using probably about 2 years ago. It is called Wirecast X2. Now, they've got some other things that they've got now. They're called the Pearl Mini and the Pearl, I think, where you can actually, everything's run through this encoder, and you can basically sit there and do your lower thirds and other things right there. But this is one I use. It works if I'm just, it works if I'm doing something outside. If I just want to change locations and do it, I can do it using Wirecast. Watch. All right, so those are the things that I use in live streaming. That right there, it's just a box, and you can see it. You just get you a keyboard and a mouse, hook it up to a monitor, and you can actually see the comments, live comments that's coming in, and you can stream and be on your way. There are a lot of churches. Go Google it. Webcaster X2, you find there's a lot of churches that use this every Sunday morning. Every Sunday morning. They don't have no computer and all, not expensive, and you can use that also. Now, I pray and trust that this has blessed you in some kind of way tonight, and thank y'all so much for joining me as we're talking church tech talk tonight, and I think that it is useful, and pray that it's helpful for those that were watching on tonight. Now, those of you that are here that say, well, you know, I'm doing ministry and stuff, and you want to get maybe a promo done, 60-second promo, a minute promo of your ministry or your church or whatever, do me a favor. Consider me. Email me. My email address, I'll show it at the end. It will be rrcdmartin@gmail.com, or I think I may have put DL Martin Enterprise on there, but it'll come up on the screen, or inbox me or message me here on Facebook and let me know, Pastor Martin, I want you to do something for me. I need a video. I need something to put on Facebook or YouTube to highlight our ministry and the things we're doing. Get in contact with me. I would love to hear from you, love to do some work with you, and whatever we can do to enhance and make our ministries better. And, you may be a small church, a small ministry, and you say, well, I just don't have a lot of money to do stuff like that. Contact me. Let's see what we can do and work together. And I believe it'll help you so much. Thank you once again for joining me. I am so happy that y'all joined me on tonight in Church Tech Talk. And I pray again that this has been a blessing to you, live streaming versus video recording. Whichever way you do it, I don't think you'll lose with it. Just pick a preference of something that's comfortable for you, something you can do that can enhance what you're doing, that can bless the world, and people can be saved and delivered. So once again, thank you so much for being a part of this. I look forward to seeing you the next time we talk Church Tech Talk.